Hello and welcome. This is Tanya Brown. I'm with Lauren St. Julian, and I'm a psychic, clairvoyant, and an intuitive business coach. And I'm excited to talk to you today because I've gotten so many clients who've come to me because they felt that they have a gift, whether it's their intuition, whether it's psychic or clairvoyant, whether it's psychic or clairvoyant, they needed somebody to discuss this with. So I'm going to just kind of take you a bit back in my history. The whole purpose of this training is for me to share with you how I came into my gift and for you to see how this connects with your gift and your journey and see where they intersect. Um, One of the things that I discovered along my journey to discovering my gift is that there was never a how-to book. Um, I joke that there's no book called Psychic for Dummies, but then I ended up doing one to help people on their journey. Because the thing is, a lot of us learn by watching TV. I had a client today who was comparing her childhood to, the Brady Bunch and the Cosbys and those type of shows, and seeing that it's the total opposite of what happens on television. So using that as an analogy, when I realized that I had a gift, I was very reticent to admit that I had a gift because I didn't see anybody on TV who looked like me. And I don't mean that in the physicality, I mean that in seeing people that have a gift similar to what I have. And let's just go back for a second. As just to kind of educate you when it comes to psychics, clairvoyance, and mediums. As a psychic, it's like somebody whispering the answers in your ear. As a clairvoyant, I get images. And as a medium, that's people. It's mediums are people who are most apt to connect to your loved ones who've deceased to help give you closure in that situation. I do a little bit of that. That's not my forte. I'm more apt to do the psychic and clairvoyant. Granted, when people ask me about a relative who passed, initially I'll say no, but then they end up waving in the background, and in the background, it's in my head. They'll pop up to kind of say, hey, I'm here, and give a message. So that's not necessarily my forte, but it does happen. But back to my journey. Growing up, I always had voices in my head, and it was never of a parental situation. It was more of a directive. Don't do this, do that, that kind of thing. It was a guiding force. As a child, I thought everybody has voices in their head. Isn't this normal? Until later, talking to people, I'm like, you didn't have that voice, you know? And again, I just thought this was coincidental. I always had dreams that came true. And I just thought that was a coincidence. That was something lucky. I knew things before that they would happen. I would, my friends thought nothing of me calling them up and saying, calling them up and being very specific on a situation that they were going through. I remember years ago contacting a friend. I'm like, what's going on with marriage? She's like, yeah, I was just thinking about it and we were talking about it, blah, blah, blah. They never questioned this, and questioned it at this being normal or abnormal, or they just considered this something that I did or was. I never called it psychic or any of those things. But the thing is, having friends that support you and validate you and not question certain things that to others would appear abnormal, for somebody to say, to know what you're thinking or knowing what's going on in your life without having a conversation first, they considered this normal. It was just me being me. So imagine, I wouldn't say my surprise, but when I started to have dreams that came true. I remembered one of the dreams, and there's actually a specific feeling with dreams when they come true. There was a situation where I was freelancing in an office, and in my dream, it was literally the layout of the office. And in the dream, I got to a certain point with a visual of a VP's office. He was in my line sight, and when I got to that point in the dream, he said, hey, Tanya, can you come to my office for a minute? And I did, and the conversation was, regarding another position that he wanted me to to accept because my freelancing situation was going to be ending there soon in his division, and he wanted me for a different division. So imagine, I have this dream. I wake up, I remember every single thing, and within the course of 7 days, because in my life, my dreams come true within 7 to 10 days, that I'm in the office and I walk by his office and I get to a certain point. He sees me and he goes, Tanya, could you come in my office for a minute? And literally it was like deja vu. He said this, I said this, he said this. It was exactly like the dream, you know? And the thing is, and actually I've spoken to other psychics and mediums about this, we all dream differently. I have yet to speak to someone who has a dream similar to mine, but it's all different, but it's all the same results. But again, growing up like this, I didn't experience anybody who did this. I remember watching TV, and the psychics on television would walk by and go, "Oh, your mother has a message for you," or "Your sister says this." It was very incredibly random. And I remember thinking to myself, I didn't think I was psychic because I don't get information like that, you know. And again, I'm saying this to you to give you context because I know a lot of my clients who, having received a gift, they've gotten in various ways. I know many people that their gift or their eye, second sight, was enhanced due to an accident or a death in the family. A good friend of mine, she had a car accident, and that opened up her psychic gift. Another client of mine, she had her father passed away, and that opened up her eye to the spirit world. She had a contentious relationship with her father when he was alive, but in death, she has an amazing relationship and the level of communication, which may sound strange to you guys, but it's actually quite normal. I mean, I communicate with my grandmother all the time. I've never physically met her. She died before I was born, but I communicate with her all the time. She's one of my psychic guides, and it's a collective group. I call them my psychic posse because it's one voice, one collective voice that they speak in. So one of the things that I've noticed is there is a gentleman called the Hollywood Medium, Tyler Henry, and he's one of the few psychics that I've seen that gets information the way I do. When he goes to clients, he's focusing on their energy and scribbling or writing notes to kind of tap in and connect to see what they get. And I do the same thing. I was meeting a client a couple months ago, and actually in December 30th to be exact, and I remembered specifically how this went. I'm crossing the street to meet her, and I asked, well, what's going on? What's happening? And they shared that it's her husband, the issues that were happening in her marriage, the infidelity and all this other stuff on both sides. And she was a very beautiful woman, very scared, which it's interesting. So many people are so freaked out seeing a psychic because they expect me to give them bad news. And it's never bad news. It's more confirming what you're feeling and what's going on in your life and sharing what I see happening going forward. And I immediately, when we sat down, I immediately shared with her what I was receiving. And you could see it was like a visible, her body relaxing. It's like the tension went out of her and she just kind of relaxed because she felt more comfortable because I knew her situation. And she didn't have to share what she didn't feel comfortable with because I already knew what was going on in her life. And after an hour, we were meeting, she thanked me profusely and sent me a really lovely note. It was interesting. This was December 30th. So on New Year's Eve, I wake up to a lovely email where she said to me how nervous she was to go to the reading, but how grateful she was to receive the information that I gave because it made her feel incredibly hopeful for the future. And it gave her insight to what she needed to do, which, just to correct that statement, I don't tell people what to do. I tell you what I see you doing. I don't say you should do X or you should do Y. I share what I see you doing or what I see happening in the future. So it's all on you. It's not my situation. And that's one of the things about being a psychic. It you check your ego at the door because you never know what you're going to say to any client. There's never a script or a preconceived route that you go in, and you never know what's going to happen or what's going to be said. Good example, there was one client, we're talking, and all of a sudden they're sharing she's sexually fluid. Okay, that wasn't me, that was them. And I share it with the client. She was like, she started laughing. She was like, how did you know? I'm like, I don't. They did. They just told me. So again, it's like a voice in my head just sharing the information, or they'll show me an image. But my point is, when you do this, it's all about what you're receiving, the information that they're giving you, whether it's a visual. And when I say visual, a lot of psychics, they, like, I'm a clairvoyant, so I get the images. It's like a movie playing in my head. Whereas some psychics will know, dog, cat, house. They may not see these items, but they get the heads up that these are the items that are being referred to. So we receive the information in so many different ways. But back to the validity, as I was saying, when I first got into this, I didn't think that I was a psychic. I just thought I was very intuitive or lucky because I would know, certain things were going to transpire or happen. And I just thought it was coincidence. I mean, I've had dreams in which they've given me directions on how to get to the airport. I go to bed worrying about the timing on my flight and when I'm leaving and the best route. And in my dream, they'll tell me the best route to take. One situation, I was flying to Hong Kong, and it was a weekend before my the flight. The flight was on like a Friday or Saturday, and that weekend prior to it, I had a dream in which my passport was expired, and in the middle of the night, I went and pulled my passport out. Yeah, it was expiring while I was going to be in Hong Kong, which, again, my guide's giving me the information. But again, it's literally like somebody having a conversation with you. So the point of this training is to just share with you other ways in which people, psychics, clairvoyants, mediums, receive the information and using that in context on how you get your information. Some of you who are watching this may not be psychic, but you're highly intuitive. You know when you trust your gut instincts, 9 times out of 10 you're right. And a lot of the clients who come to me are very intuitive, and a lot of the things that I share with them, they either knew or felt, but they weren't secure enough to embrace that information. They needed an outside source to validate their information. So what you can do with this information, the next step, if you choose to, is to work with me to help you hone your gift and to help you address the way you receive the information. I have clients who are saying, I'm freaked out with it. I don't want to deal with it. That's fine. There's a way to turn it off. Connect with your guides and let them know that you don't want to, open this door, or how to put it on pause. I've had clients who are like, sometimes I just want to get away from it. How to set your boundaries. How to set your boundaries and know that you don't have to constantly be on. I'll tell you right now, there are some days that I just don't want to talk. I just want to hit the pause button or the stop button and just have a day of, no conversation in my head and no energy connection or anything of that nature. One of the things that's interesting is, I could do readings all day long. It is actually exhausting. It's like running a marathon. You feel when you're in it, you've got the energetic high, of the energy and the information, but at the same time, it can be draining, so it's about taking care of yourself from, the outside in, getting enough rest and sleep. But the point that I'm making is if you're looking to strengthen your gift, uh, move it move it forward, and determine how you want to use it. This is perfect reason to connect with me, and we could talk about it in further detail. There'll be a link below so you can do so. But that's it. I just wanted to share with you, for those of you who have a gift, don't know what to do with it, don't know where to go, who to connect with, contact me. Again, it's Tanya Brown, Lauren St. Julian, psychic, clairvoyant, and intuitive business coach. And that's it. That's for now. I'll see you soon.